Welcome back to Homeschool Ways podcast. My guest today is an author who has written 200 titles for children. Her name is Eve Heidi Bine-Stock, and she is here to talk to us about one title in particular. Obviously, we do not have time to cover all 200 titles, but welcome to the show, Eve.
Thank you for inviting me. Um, I have now over 240 titles, and they're licensed by Mattel for their caribou.com website and by several other companies as well.
That's wonderful. Okay. So let's talk about Olivia's jokes. That is one book that I have read by you. There it is. There it is. And Olivia looks like a little animal. And maybe you can tell us what
A
inspired the
lamb.
story. Go
Okay,
ahead.
she's a little lamb.
Lamb. Yes, yes.
Anyway, I was inspired by a true story about a lady in my neighborhood who put up a board, like a whiteboard, on her corner, and every day she would come out and write a new joke on the board, and people would drive by and walk by and read the jokes and laugh, and it was a fixture in the community. And she came out one day to write a new joke, and she discovered that her board had been smashed into pieces and she was devastated. And word spread around the neighborhood about what had happened. And the neighbors got together and decided, even though they couldn't find out who had broken it, the least they could do was replace it. So they replaced the board for Olivia, and she was very happy. And when she went to check her mailbox, she found it stuffed with scraps of paper that had jokes on them that the neighbors had all contributed. And so she learned that when you're a good neighbor, your neighbors are good to you. Anyway, it was a perfect story, and I just had to tell it.
Yes. Yes. What a great story. And when we homeschool, neighbors are so important. Community is very important. A lot of people are concerned about socialization and how do you socialize a homeschool kid because we've been programmed by almost 200 years of institutionalized learning in this country, at least, that kids go to school and that's where they socialize and that's where they are part of a community. But then when
Right.
you've got neighbors, that's a community also.
That's right.
So
That's
the
right.
question is how do you socialize? Well, how do you socialize if you don't have the 7 hours of the public school all around you? So right there, the inspiring children that the people around them on the street are important, and to help them out with jokes, that leads me to my next question. So why is humor so important in childhood, in life in general? But let's talk about childhood.
In childhood, life can be hard for kids, and humor can smooth the edges and provide balance. And learning to see the humor in situations is an important skill for navigating life. And also, they say that laughter is the best medicine. So that tells you right there how important humor is for a healthy body and mind. So that's what I think. That's what I think.
And I just want to say this. I lived in Scandinavia for 3 years. I'm a little familiar with the way the Danish people think and the Swedes and the Norwegians and the Finnish. So I know in Denmark, children's stories are gruesome and they are very serious and they talk
Yeah,
about death all the time.
yeah,
And
I
I was
know.
in Sweden, yeah, and Sweden, same thing. They do not shy away from these really kind of traumatic topics that you
Right,
we here in America we would be like, ah, let's not talk about that just yet.
right,
And I
right.
just love stories that are positive, that are humorous, that put a smile on kids' faces. I think
Yes.
childhood needs to be about happiness and um, pranks and funny things. So that's one of the reasons why I really loved Olivia's jokes, and I wanted you to come on the show.
Thank you.
So let's talk about what would make a joke work for kids.
I don't know. I know that I'm a child at heart, and I know what makes me laugh.
Yeah.
And I'm just fortunate that it resonates with a wide audience of children and adults as well.
I love that answer, Eve, because when we listen to podcasts, usually it's a journalist that is pretty knowledgeable about something and asking an expert who's very knowledgeable about something. And to come on
Uh,
a show and say, I don't know, that is such an honest answer. And really, even the experts will tell you the same thing. There are moments where we don't really know because about anything really in general. I'm extrapolating now just strictly for children's literature. I'm thinking every child is different. Every
mhm,
child has a different experience, and what makes one laugh will not
mhm,
make another one laugh. So
mhm,
that is the ideal answer because we really don't know what connects with kids, which is why when we read to them, we need to expose them to all kinds of titles, all
mhm,
kinds of styles, all kinds of authors, right?
mhm,
To make
mhm,
them
mhm.
find what they like and learn new things and so on.
I was very pleased when a great grandmother said her grandson, who was 7 or 9 years old, said about my books that they're very inspiring.
Yeah.
And I was impressed by his vocabulary and
Yeah.
also pleased that he felt that way. I-
Yeah.
I'm very pleased.
Yes. And that's what we all aim to do. All of us who create content, we want to inspire. We're not here to brag. We're here to tell other people, hey, this worked for me. This is why
Hmm.
I'm doing this, and this is why I'm doing better because I did this. I used this tool. I used this book. This is the
Hmm.
reason why I started blogging back in 2013 to inspire people. And this is the reason why I've written one children's book, but I've translated into several languages with the help
Oh,
of
wow.
wonderful translators. And so I know it's hard. I know publishing is hard, and then you wonder, did I even do anything with this book? Because I've only sold so many, you know.
Oh,
But like you said, you get some feedback. It's inspiring. It helped me with this from one person, and it's like, oh, I think it was worth it.
yeah, yeah. And I get a real kick out of seeing, especially on the Mattel website on Caribou, that my work is read all over the world, from Azerbaijan to Zimbabwe, literally.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. That's
Yes.
amazing.
Yes. And if you were to gather even 100 people in a room, that would be a big group. If let's say we only sold 100 copies of each title, that's a big group of people
Mhm, mhm,
that we've
mhm.
reached with our books. So I want to take this time to remind my listeners that if they want to get a little bit better organized in their homeschool, I have some free resources on my blog. If you go to homeschoolways.com/organized with a D at the end, I have several PDF downloads that you can get to schedule your days, your weeks, and even your entire homeschool. And then I have some guiding questions that you can sort of walk yourself through because we're all different. Our homeschools are different, but we all need to answer certain questions in order to make decisions. And so homeschoolways.com/organized. Go there and get some free resources to get better organized as we end the school year and as we enter into this amazing spring season when everybody's like sort of spring cleaning. I don't know when you're listening to this show, but this is when we're recording it in spring. Let's get back to the show with Eve Heidi Bine-Stock. We have a deeper message underneath laughter. What is that message?
How important community is. being part of the community,
Hmm.
giving to them, and also receiving from them. The community, in Olivia's case, rallied around to help her. And it was a mutual relationship, a very rewarding relationship for everyone.
Yeah, and so I go back to my original point about socialization and homeschoolers. We all need community, and it
Mm.
could be your neighborhood, it could be your co-op, it could be a sports club, your church, your any kind of club. We used to be on a team for Science Olympiad, my children and I. Well, my children were on the team. I was a mother, and they had this team of homeschoolers, and that was a community. We had to learn how to communicate with each other in person from a distance with technology. We went through COVID-19 together.
Wow.
Everything went online, including the tests. So being part of a community, that is the deeper message underneath the laughter.
Mhm.
Now, how can parents use books like this in homeschool? It sounds like an obvious question, but let's talk about that for a bit.
Well, one way is you can think of your own jokes or do a stand-up comedy routine or write a story that is humorous, even if it doesn't have specific quote jokes in them.
Hmm.
Um, or be inspired to send a joke a day to your own community.
Yeah. I read where Jerry Seinfeld writes
Mhm.
a joke, at least one, every day. There's
Wow.
there's no day he as a comedian that he doesn't write a joke. And every day when he writes a joke, he's got a calendar and he puts a cross, a red cross on every day. And he said, my goal is not to interrupt that chain of red crosses.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So going back to homeschooling, um, it is so important for us to um, read these books for story time, to be relaxed about it. But if you want to be ambitious, you can use it in so many ways, like you said, in your homeschool. And I thought about, like you said, sending emails. You know, you could do like a 30-day challenge where we can just give each other a joke as a family, depending on how many kids you have. That might be plenty of time. I know families that have 7 kids. You go around the room to hear 7 jokes. That's 30 minutes. Or you could have an email list, and so you can learn marketing and so many other skills through this process. Those are just ideas. It doesn't mean you should do them.
Okay.
Everybody needs to decide for themselves what to do. Talk to me a little bit about independent publishing. How does it allow you to do things differently?
Well, there's no gatekeeper like in traditional publishing. If there's a story I want to tell, I can tell it. And I've been very fortunate that Mattel and other companies want the books, so that's great. I don't have to wait 2 years to see the illustrations for the book. And in most traditional publishing, uh, the writer has no role in the say of the illustrator, the style, uh, no communication between the author and the illustrator is the usual case. And I like being able to have input into the illustrations. I have an illustrator in India, a young lady in India who illustrates a lot of my books. She's very talented and she can illustrate in any style, almost any style. So I can show her something and she runs with it, or she can come up with the perfect style for the particular book. She's she's incredible. So I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate that I can publish a book within just a few months. I don't have to wait 2 years. And I can have each book have my vision. And I appreciate that.
That's cool. It's always good to find team members that are
Yes,
reliable.
yes, yes. And
So, go ahead.
I also do audiobooks, and I have a very reliable, very talented narrator for that as well. So,
Well, that always helps. I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks lately on my Libby app, which is my library app, and
mhm.
I'm amazed with their talent, how they can. It's one person, but I know this is a male talking, this is a female talking, this is a child. It's amazing how they can
I
change their
know,
voice.
I know, I know.
So this is all fine and dandy. I can hear some parents say, if your child is a reader, if your child wants to read, what about the reluctant readers? What is your advice for parents
My
of children who have a hard time reading or they are reluctant?
my advice is to sign up for a free 30-day trial of readabilitytutor.com. I'm not making money off of this suggestion, but 40 of my books are on readabilitytutor.com. And it uses AI. It's an AI tutor, and the child who can read out loud, and the AI tutor corrects the pronunciation, asks questions about comprehension, and it accommodates kids with dyslexia and autism and all different kinds of learning obstacles. Moms say that the kids love it and they progress by leaps and bounds. So I highly recommend readabilitytutor.com.
That's wonderful. Thank you for all that. I know my savvy homeschool moms who are in the audience, they always like a new resource to look into. And the fact that it's a free trial, that we always need to see
30
the fit.
days, 30 days,
Yeah,
30
30
days
days.
free trial. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Very good. Well, Eve, thank you so much for coming onto the show. And I wish you good luck with everything and tell our audience how they can get in touch with you if they want to send you a quick note.
My email address is Eve Heidi Writes, WRITES, at gmail.com. And my website is eveheidiwrites.com. Thank you very
Wonderful.
much, Adriana.
You're welcome. Thank you.